Well, hello everybody. Courtney from Haunt Jaunts here, back again. I'm trying to get better about introducing myself since it came to my attention when I was doing a previous interview that I rarely seem to introduce myself. I just jump right into things. I don't like to waste time with that, I guess. But that's not polite. So if this is your first video that you've ever watched of me, my name is Courtney Maroc. I'm the host and guide of Haunt Jaunts, and there you have it. So today I want to talk about the Orfield Challenge, which was a post I wrote earlier this year. I think it was around February of this year when I had discovered that there was this thing called the Orfield Challenge, and I think it's pronounced anechoic chamber. It's basically a silent chamber that there's no sound. You can't hear anything when you're in it. It's so quiet. It's actually termed the quietest place on earth. And until there's a little technicality with it was named the quietest place on earth and held that title officially by Guinness World Records, but then Guinness kind of changed things up. But I didn't know that part of things until this weekend when the owner and the creator of, well, the owner of Orfield Laboratories and the creator of this chamber contacted me and said, hey, you've got some, there's some problems with your post here. Actually, I can read what he said. Hi, Courtney. Your article about us has a number of errors, and there has been no permission to use our images. Busted. So, yikes. Well, I ate crow. I thought that it would be okay if I just credited where I had gotten the image, but that's not good. So he said, this is what he told me. So I wrote him back and I was very apologetic because actually I was so impressed with his chamber. And actually he was part of A Quiet Place. He had been involved in the movie. And there's a really great interview. So on my post, which I'll link to, it has his interview. And I'm just fascinated. I really researched, like I put a lot of time into researching the article because I didn't understand all of the numbers and all of the measurements and the technicalities of it. So I was researching Smithsonian and American Scientific and any place that could help me understand what this was better. So I was like crushed that I got stuff wrong. But I asked him very politely, hey, if you have time to correct it, I would love to know, what it is, and I'll gladly change the post. I'll remove the image, which I did immediately. And then he was very kind and said that if I want to put it back in, I can, and just credit him, but credit him personally, because I guess he personally took the shot. And he said it was extremely technical and challenging to get it. So thank you, Mr. Orfield, for that and for taking the time to correct me. So I made changes on the post today, but I'll kind of go over because actually I didn't get too much of the technicality wrong. Actually, some of the stuff that I quoted from like Smithsonian stuff, they didn't have all of their facts right either. So I don't feel so bad, but they were all very minor, which is very good, except for one thing, which was huge. And this is what I'll read. Just I got to put on my cheaters. So I'll read you the first sentence of the post. Once upon a time, the anechoic chamber at Orfield Laboratories in Minneapolis, Minnesota, held the Guinness World Record for the quietest place on earth. Well, he had changed that to say the federally accredited NIST anechoic chamber. And it held the title twice, first in 2005 for minus 9.4 dBA, and then in 2013 for minus 13 dBA. And then he also added this part, which is now as part of the corrected post. Guinness insisted on the lab being accredited and in the chain of measurement, including personnel, being accredited, as is true in all nationally accredited labs worldwide. The measurement was a 1-hour measurement. Orfield's lab is still the quietest accredited lab in the world. Now, it doesn't hold the Guinness World Record, though, and here's why. So I had written that Microsoft had come along and created an even quieter room to claim the record, which is not entirely accurate. This is where the discrepancy came in. So Mr. Orfield was very kind and informed me what happened, which is not cool. And I don't know if he's upset or not by it. I would be a little bit, but he said then Guinness sold their world record business to Ghislaine Entertainment, who had no similar standards with the accreditation process and whose goal was to promote advertising to the winner of awards, as they explained to him. So Microsoft has now claimed the award, the world's quietest place, but it's not exactly on the up and up. They weren't put to the same standards that Orfield was, and he's going to challenge that, which, I don't know if he's doing it because he's upset, but I feel that's right that he challenges it, because if they're, their standards, it's kind of like the Guinness story that I had covered when they, in 1989, had dubbed Pluckley the world's most haunted village. Well, then I did some follow-up on that, and I couldn't find it in anymore. I wasn't even sure was that true. So I had tracked down a copy of the 1989 Guinness World Book of Records to find it. And in the 1990 one that I came across, there was no mention of ghosts, paranormal, nothing. But in the 1989 one, there was. And yes, they had named it. But then when I contacted them, they were very kind and wrote back and said, yeah, we don't do that anymore because we can't quantify. There's no way to measure, most haunted, if ghosts exist. There's no scientific, basis for it. We can't physically, tangibly measure that. So we don't do that anymore. So I feel that this is the same kind of thing. It's very fair that you've got to put these things to the same standard. You can't just, anybody could pay for a world record. I could say I'm the most haunted, travel site, if that's the case. And just if I have enough money to pay for it, that's not fair. So yeah, I didn't think that was good, but that was really probably the biggest one. There were other little things that he changed, just as, putting in like, one thing was about that like decibels. So every 10 decibels up or down is a doubling or halving of loudness, which had to do with the test room. And then the longest time for somebody being in the room, Smithsonian had reported 45 minutes, I believe. And the current record times are 2 hours with lights on and separately 2 hours with lights off, but they were different individuals. So Mr. Orfield supplied that information also. And he also said that, I believe, you can't hear anything. I forget which post said it. I think American Scientist said that it's very unnerving when you're in these chambers, because you don't really have a frame of reference. You can't hear anything. You can't, like, your sensory is all messed up that way. And it says, here, I'll read you this. This is from American Scientific. Through their eyes, visitors obviously see a room, but their ears hear nothing that indicates a room. And then Mr. Orfield added in, unless they're walking on the cable floor, which his chamber is built on. So that kind of job. And then the American Scientific says, add the claustrophobic drama of being enclosed behind 3 heavy doors, but really his only has 2 heavy doors. So see, it was thankfully little things, and not all of them were my error, which was good. And he was so kind to take time, because this was a Saturday, and he whipped it back. Like, I had seen his email in the morning, which I think he had just sent, and I wrote him back very, soon, like right as soon as I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then he wrote back and said, sure, just send me the text and I'll clear everything up. And he did, just like that. And there's no drama, no fuss. I mean, very nice. And it was actually, it was an embarrassing moment, but such an honor to talk to somebody. So like that. So that was pretty cool. So that's the Orfield Challenge. It's all cleared up, and you can take the challenge if their lab has time and availability to accommodate you. All the information on the site, or you can just go to, I believe it's orfieldlabs.com. I'm not positive about that. Hold the phone. I will check that. Okay, yes, it is orfieldlabs.com, where you can go check out a tour of their facility just in general, or if you want to take the Orfield Challenge, and there's information, because it's a little bit involved. It's not like you just say, hey, I want to see how long I can stay in this, room. And you have to prepare for it. You have to pay for it. You have to reserve it. And they do have, steps that explain how to prepare. So if you're interested in that, check that out. I will also post that in the description/show notes for you to check out. Then the other thing I want to talk about today is this podcast. If you're interested in true crime podcasts, today is Mystery Monday, so why not? Let's talk about one that came across. It's called Suspect, and I read about it in People because people.com, as in, yes, People magazine, they have the exclusive trailer for Suspect, which I believe is a campside media and Wondery project. It is about a true crime murder that happened on Halloween. Arpana Janaga was going to a Halloween party, or perhaps, no, I think she was throwing it. And she ended up being murdered. And so it became a whodunit. It had to have been one of the guests, but there were three, I think there was a rope that they found, and there were 3 fingerprints belonging to 3 different people, but only one person was charged. And then he was acquitted, I believe. So the case kind of remains unsolved still to this day. And the people behind the podcast, it's journalist Matthew Shayer, it's SHAER, and Eric Benson. They interview all the guests and the authorities, and they go through it. So if you like those kind of investigative true crime podcasts, and it's about Halloween, so kind of a, I love true crime, Halloween, all of that stuff, which is horrible to say I like true crime, right? Because somebody had to have passed away. They're suffering, and that's, why do I like that? Why do I like hearing about that? But I think it's because we're human, and it highlights the human. I think we all get that rage or that terror, and we feel that at any moment people can snap, and you're never quite sure, will it be this? I mean, it's never, I don't know. It's that kind of, it's really raw, and it's true. And also, in my own family, oops, sorry, I'm getting so excited, I'm smacking myself. In my own family, my aunt was murdered, and I didn't learn about that. I didn't even know I had an aunt, my mom's older sister, until I was probably 10. I'd heard her name. Well, they called her Pearl because that was her given name. But as I grew up and learned more about her and that side of the family, she hated her name Pearl. She went by Lisa, and she was murdered in a parking lot in New Orleans and shot in the head. They never caught her. She wasn't robbed. Her case was supposedly sealed. So I want to investigate it, because my mom, she was a gorgeous woman. I will try to, if I can find the photo, I'll weave it in to the video. But yeah, she was murdered. And so I think because I have that in me, how do other families deal with that? And how do you deal with it? I don't know. True crimes are a really tricky one, because I don't know why. I can't actually really answer. I have a bunch of different answers for why I'm true crime obsessed, and it's just thrown at us. But then why do people talk about it? Like, that's the other thing. Why do the people who experience these horrible acts, why do they go on? Would you go on if you're, or have you, I don't know, maybe you're watching this and you have been involved in something like that. Would you go on? Like, I think of myself now, if I'd been closer to my aunt back then, if I'd known her, if she became like a Dateline episode or something, would I talk to someone? I can't even get my own cousins to talk to me about their mother's murder. That's how I just wonder, why do people talk? Why do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. And why do you, would you talk to somebody if you were involved in a dramatic case like that? And why, if you're a true crime lover too, why do you think it is we watch these things? I don't know, but so that's my vlog for today, the Orfield Challenge and the Halloween whodunit suspect. And you can listen, I'll post the link to the People article too, where you can listen to the trailer for it. It's pretty good. And I don't remember when it's starting, but I think pretty soon. But I'll post the information so that you can look it up. But as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you like this, please like this. And if you would like to subscribe and hear more, like it. And I'll leave, I'll pin some of the questions that I've asked in the comments. And if you have the time and feel compelled to share your thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them. So thank you so much. Have a good day. And until next time, ciao for now.